Alright guys, so for this video, I'm going to be talking about what I think will look like the top 10 for the first half of Ultimate in 2024. Now, this is all opinion based, of course, this is all predictions, and I'm just doing this based on the trends I've been seeing with players. I think this will be a fun video to talk about. Starting off, of course, we got honorable mentions once again. And the first one is going to be Tweak. I think Tweak's been struggling lately in Ultimate. I think people are learning how to fight his character well. And I think he's also going to need a lot of time to transition to, maybe he's going to learn Banjo and commit to it. Maybe he's going to learn something else. Maybe he just has to level up to version 8 or 9 or whatever version it is. And I don't know. Tweak's obviously very good. It's just, I don't quite see him able to, like, make Diddy Kong work versus the top echelon players. I think he's going to run into more difficult matchups as well as people learn to fight his character. And I think what looks like a lack of confidence based on more Sephiroth's usage. I think he's going to fall out of top 10 for the first half of next year. Not quite top 10, close to it. I think it'll be Lima. I always say this. I always say Bayonetta is an amazing character. And for a while, I thought it'd be Bloom Forever to push the character. But Lima has been showing lately he can push this character. Like, outside of what looks like an unwinnable matchup with Sonic right now, it's like, Bayonetta is really good. She has crazy combos. Disadvantage state is basically non-existent. Advantage state's ridiculous. I'm not gonna talk about the character too much. I did that in my tier list video. But basically, I watched Lima play and, like, he's beating Gluttony. He can have a competitive set with Spargo. Like, I think with enough, like, practice in any matchup, like, Bayonetta can do it, and he is pushing Bayonetta to the absolute limits. So I don't think it's gonna be quite yet this year. At least his first half. But I think at some point, he's gonna, like, be a real threat for top 8s consistently. And everyone's gonna have to respect him and, like, be worried about fighting him. Hell, I think he almost beat Mia as well at a tournament, right? So, like, he's already super close to taking sets off these top 10, hell, top 5 players. So, yeah, that's my honorable mentions. Yeah, I know, a lot of US bias. You're gonna see more of it in this first half of the list, by the way. Right off bat, for number 10, I think we have Shattuck entering top 10. Shattuck was really improving at the end of last year. Like, his level up from, like, top 20, 30-ish player. You know, he beat Leo. He had close sets with me. Like, he's been clearly grinding and trying to improve a lot. So just the fact that he's practicing and trying to actively improve, and, like, showing a lot of potential, I think he's good to. I think he's gonna push in the top 10. I think he's gonna get a few really big wins on really big players. Just a vibe, pure vibe check. But I think Shattuck's gonna enter top 10 this year. Afterwards, on 9 is Mutace. I see Mutace labbing out the combos. I see him grinding. You see, like, basically the daily tweets of, like, hey guys, look at this thing I'm trying to do. My hands hurt, but I'm gonna kill someone at 0. And it's like he is really putting a lot of effort into it. He has a lot of faith in his character. He has a lot of knowledge of the game. And yeah, I think he is gonna finally push into that top 10 space. And yeah, next up we got Zamba. Zamba's a player that literally, once he stops getting upset by random people, once he's a bit more consistent in bracket, and I don't have to worry about him, like, losing to, like, random, like, Luigi's or Samus's, I think he is a threat to just about every top player out there right now. In fact, I think there's a lot of top players he would just consistently beat. So once he gets to that point where he's running against him consistently, and I think that's gonna happen, he might be 8, he might even be higher, he might be 7, he might be 6, honestly. Zamba could be higher than 8, but I put him here right now because I think the players above him for what I think it's going to be like next year have, like, showcased that consistency. And it's not just me thinking they're really going to make that jump. But next we have Light at number 7. Now, this is a bit of fall off from where I put him at the end of last year. I see him playing well all the time, but I don't quite see him breaking new barriers or, like, beating new players yet. I see him just, like, being able to consistently beat most players and struggling with some of, like, the top players while having some hard Fox matchups that holds him back. Because really, he can win a big tournament given the good bracket, but he could run into a rough bracket of, like, you know, Mia and Akala and Gluttony, and just, like, that's it. So really good player, but I just see him, I don't want to say falling off, I think other people are gonna push ahead a bit more than him, so he's gonna kind of stay about where he is. Next up we have Ken. Put him at 7 as my end of last year list. And for this new year, I feel like Ken still on a crazy improvement path. I feel like the Sonic meta is being pushed with Sonics, of course, and Ken's clearly learning from Sonics. And you have Wrath entering the picture as well, doing well at events. So I think, like, all 3 of them are going to do very well and constantly improve. As a result, being able to bounce ideas off of each other. So yeah, Ken's clear improvement, Sonic's clear, like, metagame push, and just the fact that last year he was absolutely farming people. Yeah, I think 6 is very possible next year. And afterwards, we got Akala at 5, which is a drop. And I put him here because I think people are learning how to fight Akala. And I think he's like hanging on by the skin of his teeth. I think that's the phrase, right? To like beat these people going to game 5. Like, he's going game 5 so much and about to lose so much, and he barely wins. And I think at some point, people are gonna figure out how to get past his plot armor, figure out what he does in those panic situations, and like really like push past the like, okay, I can bring Aquila to like last hit. How do I finish this off? Like, I think they gotta figure that out. And he's still gonna be top 5, but I think also like the Sonics, Spargo already figured him out. I think Mia's kind of figured him out. Yeah, and I think just more people are gonna start like barely clutching sets out versus Aquila, unless he really labs the crazy like Steve combos, which I don't see him doing quite yet. I don't see him as much of like a super tech skill monster player. So he'll be 5th. And next up we got Gluto. And I think Gluto's gonna be one of those players that probably pushes past the Aquila barrier of like, how do I beat him in these last situations? Despite Wario Steve being so difficult, I think Gluto's gonna really make it happen. And I think Gluto's just gonna keep showing the consistency of like, most people just can't beat him. He's just too damn smart at this game. He's too good at execution on combos. His neutral's too good. He's too good at his advantage state and disadvantage state. I think he's just gonna push, and I think he's gonna be blocked by the Sonics and Mia a little bit. I think everyone else he's just gonna beat. Speaking of Spargo at 3rd for next year, in my opinion. This isn't even him dropping off, really. This is just, I don't think he's gonna quite beat. I think he's gonna kind of keep in the same trajectory of like beating just about everyone, but still having random losses, still having people he goes back and forth with, and I think he's basically just gonna stay where he is as a player right now. And then Mia, I think Mia next year is gonna be kind of in a similar boat, to be honest. Number 2 in the world next year, in my opinion, for the first half. I think he's gonna be staying like beating just about everyone, dropping sets to like Spargo maybe and Sonics. Really, I just get to the next person, right? Because I think the main reason Spargo's 3 and Mia is 2 is because I think Sonics hits number 1 next year. I think because Sonics is such a grinder, and he's showing that people he loses to, he gets better versus over time. And I think he just beat Spargo recently. I think he's gonna do it more often. I think when he does that, he'll basically be able to beat everyone except maybe Light, like very consistently in the top 10. And as a result, I just see him winning the most events next year. I just see him being a complete demon for a lot of people. And I see him even pushing matchups where he wins like 3-1 into sets where he just dominates 3-0 long term. And yeah, so that's my guess, is next year you're going to have Sonics dominating the first half of the year. I could be wrong though, we'll see. And I think that's part of the fun, right? Is let's compare now next year at some point what happened compared to my predictions. But guys, in the comments, let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree, and I'll catch you later.